went to a start, like we asked you about Joe and how he did in those 2 games, and are you worried about any fatigue on his part?
Fatigue-wise, he played obviously 120 minutes last night. It's not ideal for us to play him on Friday, but he's a really fit fella. He looks after himself. He's a brilliant professional. So fitness-wise, I don't think it should be an issue. And he's coming back now after playing 2 huge games for the under-21s, and I know that he's delighted with getting that opportunity and doing well in the 2 games. So he'll be on cloud 9 coming back to us.
You spoke about maybe having to rebuild his confidence when he first came on, but first of all, the draw. I guess it's another stepping stone for him between coming here, the captaincy, and now playing in those sort of games.
Yeah, and it's well deserved as well. It's not just been given out to him. He's worked hard. He's got himself in tremendous physical condition this season. He really does live it, like the way he lives off the pitch, and it's reflected on his performance on the pitch now as well. And he's been fantastic this season, and hopefully now he's 6-7 more games left for us. Finish the season really strong, and then he can have a well-earned break.
Did he signed a new deal here recently? Did he? Yeah. Is that on the back of? Is he attracting interest from places now that his profile is soaring? Or
well, no, he signed his new contract. I think it was back in May, maybe. Yeah. So he obviously did very well when he came in, and I think he was only on a 1-year deal. So the club have tied him down to a long-term deal, and I have no doubt that there will be other clubs interested. But we're trying to build from here, and he's a major part of that as well. He's a brilliant age profile for us. Only being 22, he's the captain. So we want to get 3, 4, 5 maybe in next season that will strengthen the squad and try and have a better season than we did this year.
What was the thought process behind the captaincy thing between himself, Chris initially, but Joe taking it on?
I spoke to Chris about it as well, having the captain on the pitch, and I obviously asked him how much it meant to him to be the captain of Pats, and Chris really enjoyed it. But then I spoke to him about maybe giving it one of the younger lads who you might get more out of them, put more demands on them and bring them on, and Chris thought it was a good idea as well. So we decided that Joe was the one I had in mind, and he thought it was a great idea. So Chris still has the impact of when he speaks, the players will listen because of his stature and his place in the squad. So we just felt that might bring Joe a bit more out of his shell, and we think it has done, and he's sort of stepped forward with that, and I think it's a good role for him. He was captain of Birmingham under-23s as well from a young age, and I think they won a couple of leagues over there in that division. So he has experience with it, and I think it's just a natural progression for him.
Did you get to speak to him in around the first leg, or when he was called up? He must have been delighted.
Yeah, he's been, I think, Jim and Rennie, and obviously John O'Shea as well, and whatnot, to be at a lot of games this season. And Joe's been magnificent. So I think he's always been there and thereabouts. And then the fact that he got into the squad and he started both games, he was delighted to get the initial squad, and then obviously playing the games. And I've spoken to him since last night, and he's bitterly disappointed, but he's really happy with the experience and having a taste at that level, and he'll be looking forward now to Friday when coming back.
Obviously Derry in a really good run of form at the moment. What are your thoughts ahead of Friday?
It's a huge game. Obviously we want to put right the fixture we had earlier on the season here. We got beaten 4-0, and it was the lowest point probably for us this season. But we're on a good bit of form as well since the break in mid-season, and we've won 5 on the bounce now as well, and we know it's going to be hard to keep that run going, but we're definitely going into the game with confidence, and we're hoping now that we can sort of enforce our way of playing onto the game, and if we play well and take a chance, I've no doubt we can win.
A very big week, don't you? 3 games on 7 days.
Yeah, it's a big week, but similar to the start of the season, you had a couple of Monday games in as well, so quick turnaround can be a good thing a lot of times, and Friday, I suppose it's coming off the back of 2 weeks of non-competitive games as well, so you're sort of getting a good break going into the busy week, and listen, all our focus is on Friday first.
Any injury news?
No, we've no injuries at all, I don't think, bar Adam Murphy is the only one that's longer term, and he's nearly back now. He's doing running and whatnot, so outside of that, no, there's no injuries at all.
Just ask you about Danny, the impact, he's going to speak to him shortly, the impact that he's made since he's come in, and I think he's played in all those 5 wins as well.
Yeah, and again, he came in really unlucky for David Odamuso. He was injured in the warm-up of Joe Nang's last game, so we had a game on the Thursday, then we played on the Sunday, and Dave missed a couple of weeks. Obviously Dave got called up to the 21s, and I know he trained really well in there, and they were impressed with the progress that he's made in the last maybe 12 months. And David would have been slap bang. We would have started the games had he been fit, because he's been sitting there waiting his chance. He's been training really well all year, but just the way it falls that we were lucky enough to get Danny in with the experience that he has, and he's gone straight in and he can call upon that experience that he has, and he's been very good for us, and that coincided with us winning the 5 games on the bounce. So he slotted in really well, and to have that experience is huge for us.
You were going to sign him anyway, weren't you, even if David wasn't injured?
Yeah, that's as soon as it came on the radar, we were speaking to Danny, and he was in training, and it just happened to be that Dave got injured, and then it fell into that. Danny got signed, I think it was on the Friday, and then he played on the Sunday. So it was just timing sometimes. Some people get the right times with other players, like Dave was, unfortunately, but listen, we've been lucky that we've got a really good goalkeeper in Danny, and he's come in and he's filled the gap left by Joe Nine.
I know he wasn't first choice at Aberdeen, but he got a lot of games in the year right now.
Yeah, he's played close to, I think, 200 league games over in the UK, so he's played a lot of games, and again at Aberdeen it's a huge club, and they probably had a couple of keepers ahead of him, but he didn't just sit there either. He wanted to go out, and I know he had a few loan moves, and he went out and played a lot of games, and he had a full season with Oldham, before that a full season with Kilmarnock more or less, so he was coming off the back of maybe 2 seasons where he played 50-60 games, so he's coming in and he's done well, and again we'd no issue in regards to Danny slotting in with the experience that he had.
When one of the top 3 keepers in this world, it's been Talbot who's next in line to be called in, is that sort of something you've spoken to Danny about, that there's that possibility that it can provide a platform? He's
been in squads previously, so it's not really something that we've spoken about. It was just an opportunity for Danny. He'd seen the season out at the end of last year, and then I think he was looking to try and go in somewhere, and I think he turned down 1 or 2 things, and then like football it is, that the phone went a bit quiet, so he was back home and an opportunity arose from here, and he jumped at it because he wanted to get back playing games again, and that's where we're at. So he's done really well since he's come in, and we're hoping that he can continue that to the end of the season.
So a lot of players who've maybe had a 10-year plus career over in the UK, they mightn't come back, or they mightn't come here maybe at his age. They might tend to be a bit older.
Yeah, but I think that's changing now a little bit. You've seen other players coming back, maybe a little bit earlier. I think the days of the League of Ireland where people have finished and their legs are completely gone and they're shot and they come back at 35 and play here for a couple of seasons are probably gone. It's the ones that come back now have to be physically fit, because it's a young league and it's a very athletic league, the way it's sort of changed over the last maybe 4, 5, 6 years. So I think players are looking at it, and they're probably looking at the situation in the UK as well, where clubs will go with smaller squads because of financial issues as well. So the positives for the look of the League of Ireland looks a lot more attractive now probably than it did maybe 10 years ago for players that were retiring or coming to the end of their careers.